Today, before lunch, you will almost certainly lie. Not dramatically, not in a way you'd recognize as dishonest. You'll tell someone you're fine when you're not. You'll say you're almost there when you haven't left yet. You'll laugh at something that wasn't funny, agree with something you don't believe, or tell someone their idea is interesting when you find it completely unremarkable. These small, constant, socially lubricated distortions of reality are so embedded in the texture of daily human interaction that most people don't register them as lies at all. But they are. And the cognitive machinery required to produce them, to hold a true belief in mind while simultaneously constructing and delivering a false one, is, as far as researchers can determine, one of the most sophisticated things any brain in the history of life on Earth has ever done. No other animal lies the way humans do. This requires qualification, because deception in nature is real and widespread. A cuttlefish changes color to blend into its background. A stick insect looks exactly like a stick. A bird fakes a broken wing to draw predators away from its nest. These are forms of deception. They produce false beliefs in other minds, but they are not lies. They are fixed behavioral or physiological responses not generated in real time by a mind that understands what the other mind believes, constructs a false version of reality, delivers it through language, and monitors the other mind's response to adjust the deception as needed. That sequence, theory of mind, false belief construction, linguistic delivery, real-time adjustment, requires a cognitive architecture that took hundreds of thousands of years to evolve. And it is, in the most precise sense, uniquely human. Start with what lying actually requires at the neurological level. Brain imaging studies of people telling deliberate lies consistently show activation in the prefrontal cortex, the region most associated with executive function, planning, and the suppression of automatic responses. Telling the truth, it turns out, is the brain's default. When you know something, the accurate version surfaces first, automatically, before any deliberate processing occurs. Lying requires the brain to do something cognitively expensive. Suppress the automatic true response, generate an alternative false one, maintain awareness of which version you've delivered to which person, and track the downstream consequences of the false belief you've created in another mind. It is neurologically significantly harder than telling the truth, which is why sustained lying is exhausting, why people under cognitive load lie less effectively, and why the physiological markers of deception, elevated heart rate, microexpressions, speech hesitations, are so difficult to fully suppress even for practiced liars. The cognitive capacity underlying lying is called theory of mind, the ability to model what another person knows, believes, and thinks, as distinct from what you yourself know. To lie successfully, you need to understand not just what is true, but what the other person believes is true, and how your statement will update their belief model. You need to hold two separate maps of reality simultaneously, your own accurate one and a false one you are constructing for someone else, and navigate both without confusion. This is cognitively extraordinary. Children don't develop reliable lying ability until around age 4, which is precisely when theory of mind fully develops. Before that, they may say false things, but not because they've modeled the listener's belief state and decided to manipulate it. The deliberate lie, the one that requires understanding what you know, what they know, and how to bridge the gap with a false statement, waits for theory of mind to come online. Here is where it gets interesting from an evolutionary standpoint. Theory of mind didn't evolve for lying. It evolved for cooperation, the ability to model another person's mental state, to understand what they know, want, fear, and intend is the cognitive foundation of every complex social behavior humans engage in. Empathy requires it. Teaching requires it. Collaboration requires it. The ability to coordinate with someone toward a shared goal that neither of you can achieve alone requires a continuous real-time model of what the other person understands and needs. Theory of mind is, in the most fundamental sense, what makes human social life possible. And lying is, in evolutionary terms, a side effect, an application of a cognitive tool that evolved for something else entirely, discovered by brains sophisticated enough to find uses their designers never anticipated. Researchers studying the evolution of deception in primates have found a consistent pattern. The more socially complex a species, the more sophisticated its deception. Chimpanzees, which live in large, hierarchically complex social groups, show more evidence of tactical deception than simpler primates. They will hide food from dominant group members, suppress expressions of excitement to avoid attracting competitors, and in some documented cases, actively mislead other chimps about the location of resources. But even chimpanzee deception is limited and context-specific. It doesn't extend to the kind of elaborate, linguistically delivered, real-time adjusted false narrative that humans construct casually in conversation. The gap between chimpanzee deception and human lying is the gap that cognitive evolution, specifically the development of full theory of mind and complex language, crossed somewhere in the last 300,000 years. What did that crossing produce? Something that looks from the outside like a moral failing, a species uniquely capable of dishonesty, of manipulation, of constructing elaborate false realities and delivering them with conviction. And it produced that, but it also produced something else, something that the moral framing of lying tends to obscure. The same cognitive machinery that enables deception enables fiction. Story, narrative, the ability to construct a version of events that didn't happen and deliver it in a way that creates genuine experience in another mind. That is what lying is. And it is also what every novel, every film, every piece of narrative art in human history has done. The cognitive leap that made humans capable of lying also made them capable of telling stories, of imagining worlds that don't exist, of saying once upon a time and having the listener's brain respond as if the events were real. Because the same theory of mind machinery that detects false beliefs in social contexts also generates genuine emotional responses to fictional ones. Every human culture has fiction. Every human culture has narrative art. Stories told around fires, painted on cave walls, enacted in ritual, written in books, projected on screens. No other animal produces fiction. No other animal generates false narratives for the purpose of producing genuine experience in another mind. Lying and storytelling are the same cognitive operation, applied in different moral contexts. The brain that can say, "I was never here," can also say, "Let me tell you what happened to someone who was." The machinery is identical. The intention is different. The effect, a false belief or a genuine experience of something imagined, is neurologically remarkably similar. You live inside the consequence of this every day. Every time you're moved by a story that didn't happen, every time a fictional character's death produces genuine grief, every time a novel makes you feel less alone in something you've never been able to articulate. That response is running on the same cognitive hardware as the small daily lies you tell without thinking. The brain that built theory of mind to navigate social complexity and discovered that the same tool could construct false realities also discovered that false realities could be beautiful, that they could carry truth more efficiently than true accounts, that the lie, told well and for the right reasons, could reach something in another mind that the truth, delivered plainly, might never touch. Your ancestors lied, constantly, probably, the same small social lubricants you deploy every day before lunch, but they also told stories. Around the same fires where they processed their fear and their grief and their wonder, they constructed false realities and shared them, and the people listening felt something real. That exchange, a false account producing genuine experience, is one of the oldest human behaviors we know of, and it started tens of thousands of years ago with a brain sophisticated enough to know what another mind believed, and to decide, in that knowledge, what to say.